For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. On infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections.
If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who want it until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious.
Violence and vandalism is being led by Antifa and other radical left-wing groups who are terrorizing the innocent, destroying jobs, hurting businesses, and burning down buildings. They are coming after me because I am fighting for you. That's what's happening.
Greetings, fellow thought criminals, and thank you for joining the insurrection. I'm Michael Lauber, and today I'm joined by Anni Cyrus. How you doing this morning?
Wonderful. No, I'm tired. I am tired. And I don't mean I'm tired because I didn't sleep. I'm tired of everything that's going on.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one. It's more and more nonsense every day, more getting stabbed in the back. We're going to cover some of that here in a minute with our friends in the GOP House. But I think first we're going to dive into your Substack, because you write a lot of great articles on there. You're way ahead of the curve with a lot of the information, and you can find that at liveuptofreedom.substack.com, correct?
Yes, liveuptofreedom.substack.com. You can either become a subscriber just for free, or you can definitely become a paid subscriber. You still have access as free subscriber to about 80% of the content. Less than 20% of contents are pushed behind paywall. Not because I don't want you to get all the information. It's just, believe it or not, bills are piling up. It takes a lot of time to research and gather and write these pieces in Farsi and then translate them to smooth English. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, even just going out and gathering all the data, especially like a lot of times when there's stuff happening live that we're covering, it's going on in the middle of the night. So you're up late reading through Iran International and your other sources, putting the information together, like you said, translating it back to English. That takes a lot of work, but that's how you get this information before we see it on the mainstream media or wherever else here in the U.S.
Yes, but you want to hear something really hilarious, Michael?
Always.
The entire time of the 12 days war of Israel and Iran, like every time I'm putting out something, there's literally a handful of people asking me, who's your source? And I'm like, I am the source. They're like, well, we haven't seen it on Fox or Gateway Pundit, or I'm like, I am the source. And they would just go on. And then a day later, they would come back with like, you were right. Here's a link on such and such website confirming what you said. I'm like, really?
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. I'm glad that you verify my original information while waiting for other American conservative, supposedly platforms to confirm what I said. But I'm glad they're confirming.
Yeah, to catch up to reality. But yeah, I want to start here because again, this is a story we keep hearing about, keeps popping back up. Who's really starving Gaza? You had a great article again up on Substack. So guys, I would strongly encourage you to go over there, subscribe, check it out, and yeah, become a paid subscriber if you can. Because doing all this, people think you make all kinds of money in the media, and in reality, you don't. Most people are really struggling, and people do need to be compensated for all the hard work they put in to generate these articles, to do all the research and everything else. So if you guys can afford it, again, I would strongly encourage you to go to liveuptofreedom.substack.com, become a paid subscriber.
Appreciate that. Yes, it was interesting, actually. Here's how I ended up writing this, Michael. So once in a while, I put a post on my Facebook and Substack, as you know. And I ask, what is the next thing you want to read about, and I go write about that. I try to respect my audience's, you know, needs of learning. So I
Hmm.
have this Semite pro-Palestinian person who I have not blocked because so far this person has not been disrespectful. They just have their own opinion. This
The
person
wrong
makes the
opinion.
comments of, yeah, right, the brainwashed opinion. So this
Yes.
person comments on that post saying, "How about the starving Gaza?" I responded, I said, "Absolutely, I will make this one priority and I will write about it ASAP." So I go write about it. And then, of course, I reply to their comments. I'm like, as promised, here it is. But it is so interesting to know that so the 12 days war with Iran ends.
Hmm.
We all think it ended. But then next propaganda pushed out is the starving Gazans. It went on pause. Did you notice for 12 days there were no Gazans being starved? They were all
Yeah,
grazing.
yeah.
And then as soon as the Iran Israel ceasefire starts, they're starving again immediately. So I was talking to a few friends in Israel, a few friends here with family members in Israel, and they're like, the propaganda is getting really bad. And it's understandable because all you hear anywhere is how, Israel is a starving Gazan. So this Substack, of course, exposes that that's not true. Yes, they have limited, Israeli government has limited the transitions of aids going into Gaza. Now, quickly for your audience, and I know your audience is very well educated on most of the topics, but just in case if they don't know, guys, Israel and Palestine are officially in active war. Believe it or not,
Hmm.
by international law, they're in active war. Now, you name another country that actually provided aid and food and money and shelter and clothing for the enemy at war's citizens. Because I can't think
Yeah.
of one, Michael. But Israel still does that on a limited trucks going in, not because they want to starve Gazans, because every time there's a truck going in, it can become more danger for Israel.
Yeah.
Secondly, when these trucks are passed through, guess where they go first? To Hamas, because
Yes.
Hamas is the government. And there are receipts, not by me, the Zionist, by international aid groups that have sent the aids confirming that Hamas is raiding these trucks, taking the goods for themselves and their soldiers, especially when it comes to flour, to medication, and
Hmm.
what is the third one? The sugar. Anything sugary. These are being taken, raided, stolen by Hamas itself. That's one part of argument.
Yeah.
Hamas is starving Gazans, not Israel. Now, the bigger conflict here is there is not a shred of evidence, Michael, that there is actually a starving group in Gaza. They aren't. The pictures that's spreading around, some of them are actually old pictures of
Yes.
a uniquely genetic disordered kid, not a starved because there's no food. If you look at the original pictures, he's being held by his parents who actually definitely outweigh me for sure.
Yeah.
Am I starving? They compared to them, I'm starving. There are no starvation because Israel has made sure that the limitations on the transportation daily are not affecting the minimum need of these people, even though Hamas is stealing it. Some
Well,
days
yeah.
there are dozens. I have report of days where 300 trucks with aids have passed through the gate. Michael, 300 trucks is plenty,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it never makes it to citizens because Hamas gets on it.
Yeah. Well, it's even worse than that now. Like to what you said on the them cycling old media images. I saw another article. This is last week. It might have been the week before, where they were caught again. Hamas posting images of starving kids. It turned out to be people who probably were starving during the Syria conflict a few years ago, before Assad was
The
ousted.
civil
It was
war.
yeah, it was when it was still going on there, and it's people caught in the middle, unable to get food. Again, not intentional, but you didn't see, the government or either side of the conflict there making an effort to make sure the civilians were still being fed. But again, they were cycling these old images. Another thing that I saw earlier this week, and I was actually trying to find it again this morning, is so a few weeks ago, the U.S. we pushed out our aid directly to civilians, handed out bags of flour, rice, grains, some medication, other things. Hamas stood down. They didn't interfere with that, but they weren't happy about it. Well, they went through afterwards and they cut off the hands of a lot of the people that got aid directly from the U.S. and bypassed their control over it. So again, and this again comes from a government where we knew, when they were trying to evacuate, they set roadside bombs to kill civilians, try to beef up the casualty count, blame Israel. They're the ones withholding the aid, instead giving it to themselves. Or I would imagine they're probably sitting on warehouses full of things right now that they don't need, but they know people being hungry pushes headlines and pushes sympathy and drums up support for them around the world. And that's their real goal here. They've lost the fight, but they can use these people as essentially hostages, human shields, continue to starve them to generate headlines. It's really sick and disgusting, but this is, again, par for the course, what they always do.
Yeah, but it actually gets worse. One thing that I broke on my Substack, you don't hear anybody else talk about it. I kid you not. This isn't one of those I'm the only one talk about a talking point. Genuinely, I'm the only one talking about it. Why are people not out there calling out or blaming Egypt?
Yeah.
Egypt, another Islamic governed country, has a shared border with Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
It's their border. Why is that one shut down? Did you know it's shut down with 0 trucks passing through? Egypt has refused to receive any aid to be passed through their border with Gaza. So
Mm-hmm.
how about we call them the genocidal Egypt? Oh no, wait, that doesn't fit the narrative. They're not Jews. They're
Exactly.
Muslims.
Yeah, exactly. We can't call them out because I think all the blame's got to go at Israel's feet, and now it's spinning up problems in the EU. There's other countries there threatening sanctions and other stuff on Israel. And again, they are trying to help these people, unlike the Egyptians or unlike Hamas, their own government.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. Egyptian government did not close that border because they don't agree in ideology. Egyptian government has been very straight from day one that we do not want in any shape or form having any access to our country through Hamas and its soldiers. We rather watch their citizens die than let them infiltrate our land. When a Muslim country calls out Hamas, I'm not sure what we're doing dealing with them or negotiating with them, which, by the way, is finally, if it sticks, finally, President Trump has come to realize Hamas doesn't want to negotiate and they should be hunted.
Good.
Took
Well,
him
yeah,
a
and
little while, but well, he's got there, so I'm glad. But
yeah.
Egyptian government is just done. They don't want to deal with these barbaric animals.
Yeah. Well, neither do most of the other countries around the Middle East. We've talked about this on here before. The Palestinians have been thrown out of Kuwait, Jordan, Syria, parts of Lebanon, and Egypt before, because once they show up in another country, they start breaking the laws, attacking people, crime skyrockets. They're just uncontrollable. And unfortunately for them right now, they're paying the price for that. I don't blame these other countries for not wanting to open their borders and take in refugees or deal with Hamas or whatever, because they already have a proven track record of attacking the people who have tried to help them in the past. And again, I think they've created their own problem. This has been systemic. When you have 65% or more of the population support Hamas, a terrorist government. I mean, I have a certain amount of sympathy for the remaining 35% that don't want them there. But at the end of the day, they're still supporting this. And that's really the central problem, is their support for terrorism.
Yes. Let's address, there's a question here on Facebook from Melody saying, what confuses me is why did President Trump say something about Israel and the hunger in Gaza? It makes no sense to me. Let's address this real quick. So what President Trump said, yes, it was contradictory, but I have the code right here. It says, The real that after talk about Gaza, he finished it with that is real a starvation stuff based on television. Those children look very hungry. You cannot fake that. Number one, President Trump in that speech, even though I've been up in arms against President Trump's wars in the Middle East, but this one, I need to be fair. He didn't say Israel is starving these kids. He said he's been watching TV, which right there should tell you he's getting his information from TV. We all know what
Yeah.
that means. And he's not watching Insurrection, which he should. But he's not
Yeah.
watching Insurrection or Live Up to Freedom. He's watching probably Fox or, I don't know, MSNBC or I don't know. So his claim is, and I did the same thing on my Substack. I say the starvation is real. Now, it's not the starvation of necessarily everyone's starving and nobody's eating. It's the starvation of freedom, life, sense, humanity, all of that. The starvation is real. Now, President Trump is directly referring to some of the videos he saw on TV or the pictures. They look really hungry. Yes, I agree
Yeah.
with you. President Trump shouldn't make that comment. He should have run it by a couple of his advisors of like, okay, how much of this is propaganda? Call Bibi and say, hey, Bibi, are you really starving these people? Bibi would be like, what are you talking about? I just sent 300 trucks of aid in. But that's President Trump. He likes to say something, to say something, to say something. There was no sense behind what he said, but he did not. Even with his nonsense sentencing, he did not claim Israel as starving the kids or starving Gaza. But he did say, watching TV, he has come to conclusion these kids are very hungry and the starvation is real. Hopefully, somebody's going to tell him to backtrack that, come on camera and say, okay, I was told these pictures are old pictures and stand corrected. But yes,
Yeah.
he has done some really nonsense commenting about Middle East, including the whole, I saved Khamenei's life. Why is he not sending me a thank you card? Does that make any sense to you?
When do you think that's going to spin back up again?
So here's the thing. We just came up on the 30 days. So on July 27th, Michael, on a private call, I told you, but I went on Brandon House's show. And when he asked me that, where are we at? I said 30 days to 40 days from July 27th, there will start poking again. They being Iran and their proxies and their sleeper cells. The reason I gave it 30 days, 27th of June, is when Muharram, one of the 4 sacred months of Islam, started. And during that month, you're not allowed to fight unless it's claimed to be self-defense, which they didn't have that claim.
Sure.
Yesterday was the first day of the next month after Muharram. So, and that's why we're seeing a lot more activities. And based on my calculation, 3 days ago, Iran already started saying, we're ready to go. Let's start the war. We have regrouped. We are done. We're ready. Let's hit it. I don't think Iran's going to start directly. I think Iran's going to continue using its proxies until Israel comes back directly and hits Iran.
Yes.
That's where my head is at. However, again, I'm a little not sure of how things are going to happen or where they're going to go, because President Trump seems to just pull something out of his hat, push it through like a ceasefire that should never happen. So knowing he's not predictable on where he's going to go with his decisions, and unfortunately, America is always in the middle of everything that happens in the Middle East or anywhere else for that matter. It's a little hard to tell, but I am praying that based on calculation, based on Sharia and IDF history, Israel will return, finish the job, and we will not butt in again and buy more time for the mullahs.
Well, hopefully, if something kicks off there again, Israel goes in and does finish the job this time, and we don't get in the middle of it, because otherwise this is going to continue. And I agree. I think they'll probably use their proxies again, thinking from the enemy's perspective. That would be the smartest thing to do, because at least publicly, initially, they'd be able to say it was hands off and blame whoever, even though everybody's going to know the reality is something different. Well, guys, we do need to take a quick break here from our sponsors. And when we get back, we're going to look into other things going on with the religion of peace. So stay with us. We'll be right back with more.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce the next generation of energy drinks, Rev 7. It has no sugar and no caffeine. Instead, Rev 7 uses Go BHB. Go BHB is one of the body's primary ketones, and it provides the most efficient and clean fuel that your body needs. It also helps you stay energized all day with no crashes. Not only that, it produces 3 times more brain energy than sugar, which helps boost your memory, focus, and mental sharpness. It also helps reduce stress and helps balance your mood. Rev 7 does all that while being the best tasting energy drink ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% today. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7. For a limited time, you get our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. I drink Rev 7 every day and I absolutely love it, and so will you.
Life can be pretty unpredictable, filled with good days and not so good days. And sometimes, the only difference between the two is your level of preparedness. The Jace case lets you be better prepared for whatever comes your way. It contains antibiotics and other prescription medications so that you aren't caught unprepared. With a Jace case, you are able to get your prescription medication before the unpredictable happens, allowing you to turn those not so good days into great ones. Go to jace.com now and get your own Jace case.
Thank you for staying with us. And again, the best way to support our program and all the programs here on X America News is by supporting our sponsors. And you can do that by going to jace.com or jacemedical.com and use code insurrection for a discount and get yourself a Jace case. This is a great item to have. It's something that it's better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. It's in a Band-Aid box or a boo-boo kit. This thing's full of real prescription medication, a wide variety of antibiotics, non-narcotic pain relievers, steroids, and other medication that could be necessary or even life-saving during the time of an emergency if help isn't on the way. It doesn't really matter if that's due to a hurricane, earthquake, flood, or other natural disaster, or if it's just our drug supply getting cut off from China. I know they are trying to spin up production here in the U.S., but that's going to take time. I've heard at least another 6 months before we're going to be able to start producing our own drugs here at home, at least in bulk and the kind of numbers that we're going to need. But again, this is an inexpensive investment that will protect you and your family's future, especially in the time of crisis, which is always right around the corner, it seems. So again, go to jace.com or jacemedical.com, use code insurrection for an additional discount, and protect yourself and your family. What was that?
I have absolutely no idea.
Well, that's scary.
It is, but I have no idea what that is. My best guess is you might need to switch to something, or I need to get up. Best guess, one of my cats actually turned on my TV by sitting on the remote.
That's hilarious.
Yes. Because I think it's loud enough that it could be disturbing the show.
I can definitely hear it in the background. The music definitely caught me off guard. I can go ahead and cue up our next story here real quick and give it a little background. We'll go ahead and jump into this. I kind of changed the order on things during the break. Islamist terror strikes Congo church. Dozens of Catholics slain in brutal nighttime assault. And this has been an ongoing problem throughout many countries in Africa. We've had Judd Saul on a few times to talk about Nigeria and his efforts there to protect people in these small villages since their government won't get involved. And this allows these Muslims to cross the border and attack and then sometimes wipe out entire villages. We had another large attack at a church. I can't remember if this one was also in the Congo or if this was in Nigeria fairly recently, where you had over 40 people slain. Again, this has been an ongoing attack. It gets almost no attention here, but it's just the religion of peace doing what the religion of peace does, and that's murder Christians, murder Jews. We've had an ongoing massacre in Syria. That's another one where I really just don't understand the Trump administration's efforts to reach out to Syria's government. I can, I guess, kind of understand something initially reaching out, but they've already been proven they're not going to do anything about these ongoing massacres, and tens of thousands of people have been killed there. But I mean, there doesn't seem to be anything that we can do on our end to prevent these kind of attacks or massacres from ongoing, other than just stomping out the religion of peace.
Let me ask you this. When you say on our end, do you mean our end as citizens or our end as a government? Like the Americans or the government of America?
Really, both, I guess.
Well, as citizens, there isn't a lot we can do, but as government, there is. I actually had another Substack released last week, I believe, that I talked about the problems that Western countries, not just American government, but Western countries, highlighting United States of America, UK, France, Italy, involvement with some of these issues. Michael, for example, let's talk about, I know we're talking about Congo, but let's go to Nigeria for a split second.
Sure.
When the Islamists broke into rebel, Western countries didn't support the non-Islamic to fight back. What did the
Yes.
Western countries do? They said, okay, here's the Islamic Nigeria, here's the Christian Nigeria, now go get along. They did the same thing with Pakistan when the Indian Muslims didn't want to get along with the rest of the Indians. And then they did the same thing with Bangladesh and on and on. And the Substack actually is about the countries that shouldn't exist, and they do because of us.
Yeah.
Every time these Muslims come out throwing punches, we just bow, different forms, different shapes. But we bow. We have created over 11 brand new countries with borders to appease them. Not
Yeah.
learning the lesson of giving them a country doesn't end it. They come ask for more and more until there is nothing left for us and they own it all. The
Yeah.
same thing happens in Congo, anywhere in Africa, anywhere in Middle East. Every time these Boko Haram, remember Boko Haram?
Yeah.
We could have supported the Nigerian military to push them out. We
Yeah.
didn't. By doing nothing, we support the Islamic end. So that's why I'm like, the government or the people. Unfortunately, as people, we can pray, we can educate, we can contact our representatives and legislators and say, hey, why are we building countries out there when our own country needs our attention and funding? But
Yeah.
as far as the government is concerned, no, they can't. They need to stop meddling and allowing these, shaking the hands of those who are creating these kind of chaos and murder of Christians specifically
Yeah.
in Africa.
Yeah, and cut off all aid to the countries that are continuing to allow this to happen. Like I know with when we had Judd Saul on, we talked about how a lot of these groups that were murdering whole villages in Nigeria, they were crossing the border, coming in from other countries. They'd go kill everybody, and then they'd dip back out. Now, in some of the cases, they had Muslims that they'd coexisted with peacefully for decades. They'd get up one day, all of a sudden they're all gone, and then that was their signal that there would be a large scale attack coming within a few days. Because again, to them, they're the other villagers are just canned fodder. Doesn't matter if they've known them for their whole life, they've taken care of them, saved their lives, shared food with them or anything else. At the end of the day, the religion is what's important, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to kill people that a few weeks ago would have thought they were friends, because that's just what they do. It's always about advancing the goals of Islam, taking over. And that's what we're seeing in Europe, and unfortunately, probably going to start seeing here in the U.S. Soon enough.
Well, technically, we kind of sort of have seen it here in US. Not to an extent.
Yeah, not to
That's the
this
thing.
scale.
Exactly. I've been thinking about it. I've been talking about it. And last night, with what happened in Manhattan, New York, I wrote a very quick, brief thing about it. Of, are we paying enough attention? First of all, we have become comfortably numb when an attack happens. Here's the thing, Michael. I did a research since Friday until last night, Monday night. That's 4 days, right? In 4 days, not in the typical way of Chicago, but in 4 days, in 4 states, in one, two, three, I'm sorry, 3 states, 4 cities, we faced 19 shootings and one stabbing. 19 shootings and one stabbing. 14 of those shootings happened in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, from Friday night until Monday morning. When did Atlanta, Georgia become Chicago?
Yeah.
When? I kind of missed the memo there. A lot of these coordinated lone shooters, these coordinated mental illness shooters, proven pattern, as you just showed, that they have done this before. They have done it in Paris. They have done it in New York. They have done it in Boston, Massachusetts. They have done it in Italy. They have done it in Germany. The problem is, first of all, our media doesn't connect the dots the way me and you do, Michael.
Well,
And
yeah.
either we like it or not, they have a much bigger audience than me and you. So we're still doing good and we're waking people up and we're showing them the pattern. But it's almost always late. Like right now, everybody's writing off yesterday's shooter as a lone shooter with mental illness. I'm like, what? I literally had people on Facebook tell me, why don't you just wait until all the facts are out? I'm like, when would that be? Because I'm
Yeah.
still trying to figure, did Epstein kill himself or not? And it's
Oh,
been
yeah.
what, almost a decade? I'm not waiting for facts anymore. I'm putting my own skills into investigating every case, looking at pictures. I literally have a whiteboard here where I'm pinning things now because I don't trust anyone to tell me what really happened anymore. The very first thing that drops out of their mouth is he Nevada partners have informed us that he had history of mental illness. You want to explain to me why the very first identification release of him was his CCW from Nevada?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, and yeah, again, there's already laws on the books that aren't enforced, and then that leads to these problems, whether it's mental illness or laws against criminals obtaining firearms. It never prevents the problem because somebody that's going to break the law does it anyway. And if you've got mental health issues and there's already a system in place to prevent somebody with those kind of issues from obtaining a firearm, they've got to actually be enforced. That's again part of the problem is lack of enforcement. Same with Chicago, all the violence there. You know, especially when they're under 18, they'll drop the gun charges, they'll drop things down to where they aren't felonies, so people know if they're under 18, they're not going to do any serious time unless they can be connected to a murder. Same with these no bail policies. That's why you have increasing crime and attacks in New York and other places because they refuse to enforce the law. We get these Soros-funded attorneys or the others that are just lunatics that go for things like a no bail policy, and of course it adds to the crime. Of course it makes the city worse, but they double down on stupidity and instead blame ancillary things that have nothing to do with the actual problem at hand and pretend somehow this is a solution. Why are you guys even paying attention to this? You're part of the problem too, as we saw in Cincinnati recently.
Exactly. If you pay attention, if you ask the right questions, if you have any narrative except what has been fed to the public, then you're the enemy, you're the problem, you're creating chaos, you're creating propaganda, you're creating phobia. It's like, and I'm sorry, Michael, my biggest issue, I don't care if officials do it. I'm very bothered that people are choosing the comfort zone. They rather hear the, oh, another mental health, oh, another loan. I literally had someone on the comment section of my post yesterday. Okay, I'm sorry. I need to
What?
go shut this thing off. I'm going to turn off my camera for literally 10 seconds. Go take care of this. If you don't mind, take over what I was saying. I have no idea. I can't even think at the moment. And I'm kind of freaking out because my cats, I know I said it, but I don't know if they could do that. So if I don't come back, come find me.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
I'll go look for the real killer. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pull up our next little story here that kind of connects to this as well. Because all of you in New York, you guys should be looking at exactly what just happened and look at what you're about to vote in. So, Zoran Mamdani slammed for defund the police comments after I can't talk this morning. NYPD officers slain in mass shooting. So, of course, Zoran Mamdani wanted to defund the police. And as we've seen in other cities, once they take this step, not only does this permanently harm, well, the consequences of defunding the police is permanent harm to your police department and your ability to enforce the law, because the good police officers that are there, they jump ship. They go to other cities that will support them, because you're sending a message that, not only are you taking the funds away from the police officers that are protecting you in your city, that they're going to be in the crosshairs. Everything they do is going to be under a microscope. And again, I think some things do need to be examined. We need to make sure they're totally exonerated, especially if somebody loses their life in a police incident. But right now the issue is, in a lot of these cases, they're not being properly protected. That they sacrifice the officers that are doing their job to instead protect the narrative. And somebody like Mamdani, that's the policy he's going to bring to your city. If you think it's bad now, it's going to be 10 times worse once he's in. But at this point, again, I want New York voted for this. They should get the policy that they wanted.
Yes, and wow, that is so much better. My guess was correct, but the difference was the kiddies actually turned on the bedroom TV, which is right behind me. That's why we were hearing it so loud. Okay. Mamdani. Love talk about Mamdani. But before I talk about Mamdani, I actually want to finish the thought I had when I had to go and shut off that distraction. I had someone put a comment on one of my posts of me just having an opinion saying, well, why don't you wait until all the facts come out? Because looks like this one is just about football.
Mm-hmm.
So let me get this straight. Somebody who was born and raised in California, played football in California as a kid, as a young kid, then in adulthood moved to Nevada, leave the life with no trace online. This guy doesn't exist. And that was the post, that this guy is a ghost. Then the morning at 7:20 a.m. of a Monday, there is a shooting in Nevada, Reno, Nevada.
Yeah.
Literally 9 hours later, a resident of Nevada driving with his registered Nevada car to New York with all sort of trainings, right weapons, even body armor, calmly walking like he walks like a boss on that shot. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I'm here to do. Walks into a building that does host an NFL office. However, this guy is targeting Blackstone. We're going to stretch all of that into he was just mad at someone at his high school during his football time. What has come out of the, like, what?
Yeah, something definitely doesn't add up about this. Originally, when I saw that it was a Blackstone was in that office, that kind of was I figured his reason for going there. But yeah, now they're saying they're blaming it on him still having problems from a neck injury from high school, from playing football. So he drove from Nevada to New York to shoot up the NFL headquarters or NFL office building administrative section. But he took the wrong elevator. And that's the only reason he didn't, end up at his target.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Why couldn't he actually go to California, which is about 3.5 hours drive from Nevada? Then almost 36 hours, I think, from Nevada to New York.
Probably
He could have
about
gone
that,
and they have a office there too. And also, if this was about the NFL issue, number one, why does this guy not exist? And Michael, your audience may not know. When I dig to find somebody's background, remember what we did with Abe Hamaday?
Yes. Yeah, another person with no background.
This guy is a ghost. Like literally after his high school, what do they call it? Photo book, something?
Oh, yearbook.
Yearbook. There is nothing there. He exists not. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. He is clean enough to get his CCW. However, trained enough to handle of all people, you look at that video. I don't know if you've seen the video yet. The way he's carrying himself and his weapon, that man is very well, that man can take apart that weapon within 5 seconds, put it back together after cleaning it.
Oh, I'm sure.
And this is all a neck injury from high school. And as the entire heat of this is happening on the other side, not blocks away, the same block on the other side of the street, almost 17 police officers are escorting two arrested, one man, one woman, the man wearing the Palestine t-shirt, the woman with blood on her face. They are escorting these two arrestees out of the area while they know one of them is bleeding upstairs in the other building. And this was all about NFL. Okay, buying it.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Something doesn't add up. And I'm going to go ahead and, well, actually, you know what? We'll go ahead and we've got one more. We've got to take another break.
Sorry, as far as Mamdani, yes. Mamdani will defund the police. Mamdani will take every single person who might have a CCW in New York today, he will take that away. He will push for harsh punishment for anyone who tried to even have. You do realize New York can be Canada, even if it's
No.
self-defense. It's a premeditated attack now.
Well, yeah, look
So
what they did to the guy on the subway that tried to stand up and stop that other lunatic
mhm.
Michael Jackson impersonator. Luckily he beat the charges at his trial, but the fact that they even tried him for it in an obvious case of not just self-defense but protecting everybody else in the subway car, it's something that shouldn't even be called into question. And last thing before we go to break, this other attack that happened over the weekend that was in your article up in Michigan with the stabbing, that was stopped not because the police showed up, because there was a guy in the parking lot with a gun that held him until the police did show up. As lucky I wasn't there, I probably would have just shot him, but saved the
it's
taxpayers
funny.
some money.
I kept thinking that this guy did what he did in Manhattan, New York. I might be far off. This might be my imagination, but I said because he most likely knew he's gonna walk down the street, bright daylight, walk upstairs, and nobody's gonna dare try because nobody got anything on them to try. If he would
Yeah,
try that anywhere near Dayton or Cincinnati, Ohio, well, we all know what would have happened to him.
yeah,
Second, max third step, and that would be the end of his steps.
exactly. All right, guys, we got to take a quick break here from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with more.
Well, hello everybody! It's Anni Cyrus. Welcome to my art studio where all the magic happens. This is the station for painting, and that is the station for all the resin art I do. If you want to check out my art, all you gotta do is go to lutfstudio.com. But I'm sure for this, I hope I'll see you at lutfstudio.com.
Thank you for staying with us. And again, the best way to support our program and all the programs on X American News by supporting our sponsors. So what do you have at the at lutfstudio.com right now? What you want to highlight to the audience? I should have grabbed the shot of the website.
Right. I was just thinking, who's we? You did it by yourself. Oh, you're counting your hands too. Okay. We I actually just finished 5 very brand new items. You've never seen them on my store. Actually, it's not just not on my store. If you go on my Etsy, Etsy itself will tell you that it's a rare find on Etsy. The products I have put up, I think they are gorgeous. I think my face is speaking out a little too loud. Um, there are all faith-based. They are all cross-based. There are candle holders. They are just stands by themselves. More keychains, ladies, necklaces, and earrings coming up soon. So I'm going to continue making what we've made always. I'm not giving up on those, but a lot of new products are coming as well. And on the new ones, we're actually taking custom orders, Michael. So people can
Nice.
go to the product and then just click write Annie, send me an email, say, hey, I want this on these colors or that color, one color. We can accept up to 3 colors per product. So check it out, lutfstudio.com. Buy what's there or send a custom order. It's 3 to 4 weeks delivery from the day you place your order. And make sure to use promo code Insurrection. You get discount. You support my work, and the Insurrection will see some support financially because, well, again, 5 days a week on air is a lot of work, guys.
Yeah. Well, again, you do a lot of work behind the scenes here. You make a lot of these other shows that people see on X American News happen. So it's a great way to support everything that you're doing. They can also find you both by yourself on Live Up to Freedom and with Miriam Shaw. Was it 4 days a week on X American News, right? 2 days of
2 days
sorry.
Live Up to Freedom, 2 days Mission for Freedom. So yes, so Mondays and Wednesdays is Live Up to Freedom by myself, and then Tuesdays, like today, Tuesdays and Thursdays is Mission for Freedom. with Miriam Shaw, where we actually pick one or two Bible verses and we talk about it, connected to what's happening to our lives today, and encourage everybody to pick up their Bibles more often and listen to God's voice more than mainstream media or anyone for that matter. Because right now, Michael, I should leave you and your audience with this thought of I really feel that we need a lot of discernment, Michael. The
Yeah.
level of lies out there, it is so loud, it is so chaotic. Who do we believe? Who do we follow? Who's telling the truth? Who's translating the correct words? Who's got an agenda? Who doesn't? It is becoming harder and harder every day to know where to go. And I personally found it much easier where I do open my beautiful Farsi Bible that was your wonderful gift to me about 4 years ago. I just dive into my Farsi Bible and I feel the difference. It's like when I put it down and I get up and I feel like okay, I can trust me to trust the right people.
That's again well said. I know you got to run here really quick. I do want to get your thoughts on one other story before you go. That's starting to really make the rounds now. The Cincinnati police chief blames social media and journalism after brutal mob attack goes viral. The mayor didn't want to comment. They finally cornered him yesterday, and he basically said some people did some things, or that's what I heard from his comments. Nobody wants to address the real problem at hand. And again, this is escalating across the country as we're seeing more and more of this type of mob violence, whether it's knockout game or now, man, people are going to get killed doing this. Down in Florida now, they're doing basically, they're showing up people's houses, kicking on the door with masks on and airsoft guns. People keep that up. There's going to be a body count pretty soon, and it's not going to be the homeowners. It's people, playing stupid games and winning stupid prizes.
Cincinnati is home. Cincinnati is home. And when I originally saw the video, I'm like, wait, okay, so let's fit the narrative quickly. A race will not come up. Motive will always stay unknown. And somehow, somewhere, we're going to find somebody else to blame, which apparently now they're blaming us in social media. I guess we're blowing it out of proportion when innocent lives are taken.
Yeah.
Let's reverse the scenario for a split second. The woman and the husband or the couple were black, the attackers were white. Well,
Oh
I
yeah.
know for a fact half Cincinnati was burned down by now.
Oh, yeah. That'd be the only thing we heard about for the next 5 weeks. There'd have to be summits and everything else to address it. We'd be doing studies. It would never end. They'd be demanding legislation. They'd be demanding gun control, probably, too, even though it had nothing to do with it. But yeah, the other way around, they don't even want to look at or address the problem, and this is continuing to grow. And I think a lot of that is the message has been sent. You're not going to be prosecuted. We're going to treat you with kid gloves. But if the situation's reversed, then we're going to declare it a hate crime. Now, luckily here, both the state attorney's office and the DOJ have gotten involved. So it sounds like they've made 5 arrests so far, that they are going to be appropriately charged. Some of them with attempted murder, it sounds like, for the poor lady that they, again, attacked her from behind and hit her head on the concrete hard enough that she lost consciousness. But yeah, we had 4 people attacked, and the mob around them was cheering it on, literally.
Yes, and that's where I take it back to. We need to realize the level of hatred that has been spread for last 20 years in this country. If we
Mm-hmm.
don't come to end it, if we continue being puppets of these puppeteers, there won't be much left of us. And I'm
Yeah.
not talking about us as individuals, I'm talking about us as the land of the free because of the brave. Where is the bravery? Where
Yeah.
is the discernment? Where is the trust in one nation under God rather than one nation so divided that if you don't agree 100% with everything I say, therefore you are my enemy and I shall find a way to destroy you? It is scary, Michael, how badly we're divided. I mean, me and you, audience don't know, but pretty much every phone conversation, at least there's one topic where we say, well, we have to agree to disagree,
Yeah.
but we still work literally every day. We work shoulder to shoulder to save America. I don't care. You can disagree with basics and I can disagree with basics, but at the end of the day, We both wake up every morning fighting for what's right. And the rest will fall in place when we save our country and go back to where we can say, well, now let's discuss which color is better on my hair,
Yeah.
making things up. But yes, it is terrifying. However, the good news is, again, we know what the ending is. However, that doesn't mean we should just sit down, lay down, roll over,
Yeah.
bow, and let it be, because we know one day we will be set free. We need to stand by our values. We need to protect ourselves, our country, and our next generation. Whatever that takes, we got to do it. We need to stop allowing the narrative be fed to people. When there's a wrong narrative, counter it. It's
Yeah.
okay if you get attacked on social media. Hey, if it's even okay if you get attacked in person. There's a time where you got to draw the line, and today is that day, ladies and gentlemen. You might be super happy with the government today. At least we have, good people who are doing or trying to do the right thing. This isn't forever, though.
Yeah.
This isn't. We made this mistake 2016, thinking this is it. Look what they did to us in 2020. Look at the innocent lives that were literally destroyed in January 6th. Don't forget just remember, just keep remembering. These days will be ending too, and soon we're gonna look back. You're like, darn it, we didn't do the right thing. We didn't plan routes again, and now we're back to square one where we're fighting each other, and those in government are against us. I'm sorry, I went on a long rant, but
Well,
it
you're
was
right
fitting.
though. Well, I know you got to run to get prepared for another program, but I want to thank you again for joining us today. Thank you for all your words of wisdom. And last thing, what's the best place for our audience to follow you?
Well, I appreciate you having me on. As you know, I'm not the most popular guest to be on most shows, so I appreciate the platform.
Ah,
Live up to freedom.substack.com is literally the best place. You get all the Substack, and also on my bio, link to all of my social media. Everywhere else, my artist store is there. So live up to freedom.substack.com.
and then last thing before you go, this weekend you've got an event coming up in Chicago. Both of us will be up there for that. If you guys want to see us, can you give our audience the details on that real quick?
Yes, so it is such an honor to be part of this group. The event is called Networking the Network. You can find their social media just looking up Networking the Network on Facebook and on X. Um, it's a brilliant idea where everyone with their grassroots, their organization, their movements, their businesses will join, and we will share our skills, our understanding, our methods. So this way we can help the Christian conservative organizations in grassroots start building a stronger and faster. So hopefully we can start turning some of these blue cities and blue states, turning them back to where it should be. Now this is
Yeah.
starting in Chicago. Surprise, surprise. Illinois needs help first. It's going to be Saturday. The event starts at 8:30 in the morning Central Time, goes until 4:30. It is my privilege to be the keynote speaker. I will be discussing AI actually. To many people's surprise, I will be talking to the audience in the room, telling them, well, what they should do, which it's titled Learn How to Use AI Before You Lose to AI is the concept. And if you want to join, I know there are still tickets available. Go to either X or Facebook of Networking the Network. There's a link there where you can click, purchase the ticket, get all the details, show up. We would love to see you.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for joining us. Both of us will be up there this weekend in Chicago. Come up, say hi, or tell us how wrong we are. That's fine too. Again, Annie, thank you for joining me here today. Good luck the rest of your day. I'm sure we'll talk soon here. And then the audience, I'm going to wrap up the rest of the stuff we've got here. We still got a few other stories to cover, like the GOP stabbing us all in the back once again. So, House GOP restores funding to globalist National Endowment for Democracy against Trump's wishes. Well, it's not just against Trump's wishes. This was another big thing that, Doge uncovered, confirmed what we already knew, that this money's flowing through the National Endowment for Democracy, almost called in the NEA, National Endowment for the Arts, which is another extremely corrupt organization. And so let me fix the screen here real quick. this is basically money laundering. This is how we finance a lot of these color revolutions around the world. These have always ended up in the detriment to the United States. This is essentially letting the State Department act as its own entity. Now, I don't understand why the House can't just get in line with where the people are and enforce the will of the people. It seems very easy. We all know how corrupt these organizations and entities are. Doge went through the spending. We found all this other, just ridiculous programs that USAID was funding, but this is another CIA operation essentially. Now, I'm hoping they can roll this up into the State Department and gut it that way. Or redirect the funding if we have to spend the money because of bills that Congress has signed into law, then maybe we can redirect it to causes that will actually support America and support American values. But at the end of the day, again, I just don't understand why the House stabs us in the back. These rhinos, they're a bigger problem than the Democrats are. We already know what needs to change, but until we get out of our own way and we get some of these rhinos out, we're going to continue to triple over our own feet and nothing will get accomplished that we want to see happen. So next story. Justice Department files misconduct complaint against Judge Boasberg. So this is, they have him now on tape or on video, I should say, bad-mouthing Trump and the Trump administration. And again, he can't be an impartial judge. Everybody's already known this and known that these are the facts, but they're finally doing something about it. But what I want to know is, why is this only the second judge they filed these kind of complaints against? And when in reality, a lot of these judges filing these now confirmed by the Supreme Court illegal nationwide injunctions, which we can get to that Planned Parenthood one. Actually, I don't think we'll have time for that today. But they're essentially overruling the Supreme Court. But Boasberg in particular, there's plenty of conflicts of interest, and this. He's obviously got stage 5 Trump derangement syndrome, but he refuses to recuse himself. And again, the left always looks at it as their mission is more important than their honesty, than their conduct, than them having the same restraints that the right does. Jeff Sessions recused himself just so there wouldn't be any appearance of any kind of impropriety, and that's what allowed the Mueller and the Mueller sham investigation and perpetrate this hoax on the American people for 2 years, because the Republicans don't have spines. They don't want the appearance of any kind of impropriety or anything else, which means they only fight back with half measures. So in reality, we should be filing these things against just about every judge that stepped up, filed one of these injunctions, or otherwise interfered with Trump's administration and the will of the people. Maybe there's one or two that gets excluded for, but I have trouble buying it at this point. The left fights back every way they can, where we barely even get off the bench. Sorry, guys, I'm having an issue here getting something to pull up real quick. Oh, this is a story. We're probably going to be discussing this a lot more tomorrow, but I just saw this morning, so I don't know if this broke last night or this morning, but this has Democrats already flipping out because, once again, they're having to eat their own words, and they just sound like stuttering fools when they get in front of the cameras and try to do that. So Trump's former impeachment lawyer, David Schoen, flips the script, uses Democrats' own arguments to prove Obama can still be impeached, stripped of immunity, and indicted for his crimes. So after the second sham impeachment following January 6th, when that failed, when they got the impeachment in the House but couldn't get a conviction in the Senate, there were talks of impeaching Trump for a third time, making him, solidifying his reign as the all-time world impeachment champion. But they wanted to do it after he was out of office as a way to prevent him from being able to run again. So they made the argument. They also made the legal set the foundation for the legal argument that someone can be impeached even after they've served in office. Now, for their purposes, it was for preventing him from running again, but that didn't have to be the purpose of the impeachment. So the idea is, first impeach Obama, then he loses his constitutional protection, his presidential immunity, and they could pursue all the other high crimes and misdemeanors that he is guilty of, or appears to have committed, I guess, allegedly guilty of. But this opens a path for that, because right now, I'll be honest, I know there's other people saying otherwise. Oh, they think that this qualifies for treason. Well, I'm sorry, I don't think it meets the legal definition of treason at this point, at least not what I've seen, which means by most accounts, he's going to be protected from the bulk of what occurred while he was still president. Now, there are other crimes they can link him to that occurred after Trump was sworn into office, and he would still be open on all of those. But even for the crimes he committed while he was president, or alleged to have committed, he could still be drugged before the House, and if he lies in any way, be prosecuted for perjury, and that would be an entirely separate crime, and he would no longer have presidential immunity for any of that. But I think this is a good path. Even if we don't end up pursuing this, keeping them running scared and keeping them spending money on legal defenses right now is draining Democrat funds to be one of our goals. They're really suffering when it comes to donations. There's another big scandal that just blew up with Act Blue that I don't think we're going to get time today to cover. But that situation's only getting worse. They're not getting donations. We've cut off their lifeline where they were draining U.S. taxpayer dollars and laundering it through various NGOs from USAID money out of the State Department, other entities. So they're going to really be hurting financially going into 2026, but they're also suffering politically that they still don't have cohesion among their base. Their overall support continues to fall. I don't know who these clowns are that think that they're still set for a large takeover of seats. I get that there's a lot of disgust and with the Republicans right now, especially related to Epstein and not seeing any arrests yet, that people have had it on our side. But I think that the way the economy is going to be just booming going into 2026, at that point, I hope to God we'll have seen some major arrests and prosecutions. But by the time the election gets here, that's going to be the main thing. And if they're still out there crying about Palestine and wanting to put the trans books back in your kids' classrooms and basically undo a lot of the progress that we've had over the last couple of years, they are not going to win a majority. Now, if the economy's crashed or there's other things going on or we're involved in 10 wars around the world, it might be a different story. But as of right now, I think they're getting ready to get crushed in 2026. They already know it. And this just further sets the stage for that. If we can drain their resources by forcing them through the courts to fight legal battles. Because again, the process of the punishment, we had 4 years, more than that. We've had decades of that done to the right. The right always refuses to fight back. But now is the time to do it. We need to go full bore on all these prosecutions for all the crimes they've committed, laws they've violated, and we can't be the nice guy anymore. We can't go, oh, well, slow down, Democrats, don't do that. That could lead to a situation where we're just fighting in court all the time. Well, you know what? That time's already come. They already fired the first shot. They've not prosecuted, persecuted the J6 defendants, President Trump, anybody that helped President Trump, parents that prayed in front of abortion clinics, parents that showed up at school board meetings. They already made the American citizen public enemy number one. Well, I guess number two under President Trump. But it's time to fight back, and we need the DOJ and everyone else in Washington, D.C. To start carrying their own weight and fighting this battle to win. This is our opportunity to send the left back to the Stone Ages, to rob them of political power for the next 10 to 20 years if we can just get our act together and actually push back in a cohesive way. Guys, we are out of time for today. Again, I want to thank you for joining us. Thanks again to Annie. Check out all the work she does at liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Thank you guys for joining today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us to grow so we can bring more people the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. And we'll be back tomorrow with even more.